everybody. This is a diabetes, nutrition, weight loss, all kinds of nutrition class for everybody. The past 2 weeks, the first and the second week of July, we talked about general diabetes and nutrition. The second week, we talked about meal planning. And now today we're talking about blood sugar. And a lot of people think, oh, blood sugar, I don't have diabetes. I shouldn't have to worry about it. Actually, no, we all, whether we have diabetes or not, blood sugar, if we have too much blood sugar in our bloodstream, the liver likes that because then it will always have energy to give us energy through the night when we're not eating, if it's a fight and flight situation. So we always like to have a store of some sugar. However, when we have excess blood sugar in our bloodstream, the liver takes some of it for overnight or for fight or flight, and the rest of it maybe puts in the muscles. So that way, we can have it when we need to sprint or something, but the rest of it goes to fat. So a way that we can moderate our blood sugar in our bloodstream is to, well, we were talking before, eating a balanced diet. So be like the protein and the fats with the carbs and the fiber. So that would be like the vegetables, the plants, and then the proteins. And the proteins doesn't always have to come from animals. Yes, chicken and beef and cheese and eggs are delicious, but we can also get protein from vegetables. The highest high protein vegetables are like broccoli and spinach, edamame beans, green peas. What else is there? Asparagus, broccoli. I said that before. Brussels sprouts, these kind of things. So we've talked about the vegetables that are high in protein, which is pretty common vegetables generally. And then there's also the grains. These are also high in protein. The multi-grain bread, the chia seeds, the flax seeds, the sunflower seeds, and all the kinds of nuts and walnuts and almonds. These are all protein sources that are not animal-based. And I'm about a plant-based diet, not a vegan diet. So if you're thinking about, oh, this lady's crazy, she's going to talk about a vegan diet. The vegan diet is very tricky. You have to have enough B12. So that would be a supplement that you put under your tongue. If you swallow it, your stomach will destroy it and you won't get the B12 that you need. So there's some other things with avoiding animals altogether that it can be done. It definitely is a tricky situation. You got to get enough iron, you got enough protein, got to get enough B12 and omega-3s and all that kind of thing. So some animals, whether it's fish or beef or chicken, whatever kind of animal you like, cheese, that's a nice thing, but we can have more plant-based meals. That's always better. So today we're talking about blood sugar and complications. So I just had a webinar about, it was from Sunsweet Prunes. They're promoting their prunes, and I gotta say, yes, there are carbs in prune juice and in other juices, but when it comes from a plant, like these are not water with fruit flavorings, but if it actually has some actual fruit juice in it, and if it can be 100% juice that has been diluted, I think you'll see it on a bottle. It will say 100% juice, and then the first ingredient is water. So just so you know, if we can have 100% juice, maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 50%, that's all fine. The plants from that juice are found to, in a teeny tiny way, help our gut biome. All the plants help our gut biome. So again, I'm supposed to be talking about blood sugar and I'm getting back onto the juice. But basically, if you're gonna have tomato juice or V8, 100% juice, if you're having it with a meal, it just counts as part of the carbs of the meal, and you're golden. If you are hungry and you have juice on an empty stomach, that will increase your blood sugar really fast. Maybe you're having low blood sugar. Maybe you are, around, take your blood sugar and you're at 70 or you're at 60 and you're feeling shaky, or maybe you're at 100 and you're feeling shaky. That would be a great time to have this 100% juice as opposed to Crystal Light that has no sugar in it. but having some juice is a really fast way to increase your blood sugar, but you don't want to keep your blood sugar high because then your body will make some fat. There is on this, so we need carbohydrates because they give our body energy, and I have a number of patients who are Actually, it's been 12:15. Are there any questions on what I've said so far?
Kirsten, this is Sheila. If you were eating prunes, that come in a can that you get from the Giant, what would be a serving of prunes? And I also heard that, isn't that supposed to prevent osteoporosis and other?
Yeah, there's been
Can you comment?
Absolutely. There has been, I haven't seen a lot of studies about it, and all the studies I've seen have been by Sunsweet or Dole. But there is an enzyme in the fiber that is in prunes that helps your vitamin D work better. So it makes the parathyroid, keeps it under control so that it can, the parathyroid looks at your blood, and if you are low in calcium, you need calcium to move your muscles. And if you're low, your blood supply is low in calcium, the parathyroid takes the calcium out of your bones and puts it in your bloodstream. Your vitamin D says, hey, we got enough calcium in your bloodstream, let's put it back in the bones. And the fiber from the prunes helps that vitamin D work better so that we do have less osteoporosis for men and for women. It's 5 prunes a day, so it's a lot. So think about the prune juice, think about, having them as a snack. But yeah, it's supposed to definitely do that. Ted, did you have a question?
No, it helps me explain something. My brother had to have his parathyroids. I didn't know. Now, and he mentioned something about the bones, and I never understood what he was talking about.
Yeah, it's a chain reaction, and the parathyroid are just the little dots on the butterfly shape of the thyroid. And sometimes they have to take all 4 of them off. Sometimes it's just one, but it reduces how much calcium it can take out of your bones. So it's interesting. The body is amazing. The body is amazing. So I don't know. Remember if the last time when we were in person, we had these conversation maps, and the one for blood sugar was about maintaining your blood sugar within range. Before meals, you want your blood sugar between 80 and 140 milligrams per deciliter. If you're checking your blood sugar, that's very personal. So some people want to be between 100 and 200. Some people want to be between 80 and 120. But basically under 140 before meals, you are in a good range where your sugar in your bloodstream is not too much that you're going to make fat. So that's good. And we need the sugar in our veins for energy. And if we don't get enough carbohydrates in our diet, we don't get enough sugar in our bloodstream, the body will find a way to make it. They'll either take it from your liver, from your muscles, of course, from your fat. But unfortunately, it takes it from the liver and the muscles first. So make sure you have, good muscles so that, if you were to get sick, it can hold a lot of sugar, and it can help you get over your sickness faster.
So I have a question. I've always been wondering about this. So I'm not a person who has to test their blood sugar. I don't have a meter or anything, or I don't use the test strips. But I've always been curious as to what to look out for. How would I know if my blood sugar is high? You've talked about like sort of that slow digestion. So like when you eat and you feel bloated, your body's not processing the food faster. I made note of that. But I'm wondering, are there other things like just sort of general you might notice if your blood sugar is high, something that might clue you in?
It's going to be weird. You're going to be hungry, and you're going to be thirsty.
You're going to urinate a lot?
Yep. You're going to have to go to the bathroom a lot. You're going to be hungry, and you're going to be thirsty. From wheat is very concentrated now. It used to be that wheat could grow up to our shoulders over the course of a summer. Now they can get 3 crops that are knee high. So it's a very concentrated protein, sugar, fiber, everything. And a lot of people are having wheat sensitivity. So if you know that during the day, hey, I've been having, toast for breakfast, and I had crackers with my lunch, and then for dinner I had a hoagie, you might have high blood sugar. You might be thirsty. I definitely have to go to the bathroom. Those two things would clue you in, but I'll say 80% of the people don't recognize it. So I would look more at your foods and just make sure that the amount of wheat or grains or rice or potatoes or whatever the starch is, that you have twice as much vegetables and only the same amount or less of the protein. If you're having a big bunch of protein, that can also raise your blood sugar. So a lot of people are doing this keto diet, and the body can switch over and burn fat. The fat can turn into blood sugar in your veins. So the biggest way to tell if you have been running high blood sugar for, say, a week is your pants are going to get tight. It's going to, the best place for the liver to deposit this extra fat first is usually our bellies. So if you've been on vacation and you come back, you're like, oh, my belly's, yeah, you might have had high blood sugar during your vacation. So let's convert to have more vegetables and more exercise now that you're back, which is very hard to do in this quarantining, I will say, with everything opening and closing. This weekend is restaurant week in Ambler. They're closing off Butler, and they're having all the restaurants be 6 or 10 feet apart, all the tables and chairs on Butler Avenue. So if you want to come, I don't know, but it's tough. We're at home and we're trying to be active. We're trying to eat good foods, and it is, it's wearing. On my website, I talk about swap your burnout for the fire within. Yeah, a lot of us are burned out at this point. In March, when we came home, we thought we would really be back in July, and now we're looking at November, December. So we have to have a new normal and think about how we can exercise, drink plenty of water. So water bottles, that's a huge thing. And it's a big part of the environment, unfortunately. So if you want to do something better for the environment, believe it or not, Whole Foods sells a gallon of water for 34 cents, but you have to bring your container. So those water cooler things, if you have a couple of them and you're really strong and you can bring the 5-gallon water, 5 times 34 off the top of my head, $1.50, and you get this amazing water. It's not, it's filtered, but it's filtered through osmosis. So there is still some minerals in it. But it really does taste very good. It's not a Santi water. It's not a tap water. It's gone through osmosis. And yeah, so think about, how you can incorporate more water in your life, whether it's tea, cold tea. There's a lot of herbal teas now. All of these things can bring your sugar down. So the reason that we're going to bring sugar down is, one, for weight loss, but also if you have diabetes, having a lot of sugar for a long time, a period, can cause a bunch of different complications. And I don't know if you can kind of see this, I have my Continuing Your Journey with Diabetes conversation map about reducing complications. So next week is the last week in July. Yes, and I'm going to talk about food. So I'm going to try to do some recipes. I might even ask you to put some ingredients on your website, Mary Angela, and then we can cook together. I'm thinking about it. So figure out how we can do it in the kitchen. But signs and symptoms of high blood sugar, they have it. You can't even see it on this page. Okay, so it's fatigue. So you're tired, even though you've been eating a lot. You have blurred vision. This is for people who have high blood sugar for a long time. They'll be thirsty. Some people have headaches. Most people don't. Frequently urination. The thirst and the urination, definitely, for sure. And then mood swings because you're uncomfortable. So some people get cranky. Signs and symptoms of low blood sugar. This is when it's time to eat. So your blood sugar would be shakiness. That would be like, you haven't had lunch, you skipped breakfast, and let's get going on at 2 o'clock. You can't think straight. So shakiness, sweats, headaches, mood swings, confusion. Confusion is big with hunger, and then a fast heartbeat too. They'll say that, oh, my heart is pounding. That goes in with the shakiness, and just uncomfortable. You need to eat something, and you're ready to eat every single thing in the house. That is the danger. So whether you have diabetes or you don't, the best thing to have is a half a glass of juice. There we get back to the juice again. Some bread, toast some bread, maybe with a little bit of honey on it, but juice is definitely the best. If you can eat 17 grapes, that will give you enough sugar to make you feel comfortable again. But the juice and that is the best idea. Make sure that the juice has some carbs in it. You're looking for 15. And if you can possibly remember it, you got the confusion going on and you're hungry, if you can just look at your watch or the clock and see what time it is and see how you feel in 15 minutes. If you can hold off eating the entire house for 15 minutes after that glass of juice, you're going to be much better. But often when you have the low blood sugar and then it's difficult to get that 15 carbs in. You're going to go for, 90. You don't care about the 15 and you're so hungry. But if you can get to the 15 and you can get some water and then you can have a meal, you will even off. It takes a couple hours, but you will feel better again. But basically it does mess up your whole day. So I would really recommend do not skip meals. Even if for breakfast you're not hungry, just a couple of berries and some nuts. That covers all the food groups. The berries has the fiber and the carbohydrates, and the nuts has the proteins and the fats. So if you can just, have some walnuts and some blueberries, the strawberries and the blueberries. Oh, all the berries are really good right now. Peaches, if you want to have a half a peach, you can have the whole peach. That's fine. There's not very much. Anyway, so that way you can keep your blood sugar level. Some complications that we've all understood: when you have a lot of blood sugar in your veins, the veins get smaller and smaller as it gets to your extremities and your organs. And then it cuts off some nerves. Ted, you look like you have a question. Is everything good? Okay. So the capillaries.
He's
Just,
muted. Ted's muted. So give him a
okay. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, good. So the way that we get damaged by having too much blood sugar is the blood sugar is a big molecule. In order to get into the cells, we have to have insulin receptor doors. The insulin has to click on it, and the doors open so that the sugar can go from the blood veins in our bloodstream into the cells. With all the other molecules, the calcium and the magnesium, the sodium, all these kind of things, they can easily flow through our blood veins right into through the cell membranes. But the sugar just can't. That's why we have insulin, whether it's from your pancreas or from an injection. And then the insulin goes onto those little doors, it clicks them so they open up, and then you can reduce the sugar can go out of the veins and into the cells where the cells need them for energy. That makes your little mitochondria make you some more energy. The other thing is, if you move around a lot, it's very hard to do now because it's so hot. But if there's a way that you can go up and down stairs, or you can walk around your block or whatever, that not only gets you more of these insulin receptor cell doors on every cell. If you're sitting around, you might have one or two, watching a movie, whatever. But if you are exercising, going up and down the stairs where you get out of breath, you can have 10 to 12 of these receptor doors on every muscle cell, and then you get your sugar in your blood. The insulin notices that, your pancreas notices it, gives you some insulin, goes through those doors, opens them up, all that sugar in your veins goes right into your cells. So moving around helps you get more of those doors, but it also helps you get more of the mitochondria, or the little things in your cells. You might have one or two in your cells. If you move around, you can get, again, many, I don't know how many, so 10 or 12, whatever, in every muscle cell, so that way it gives you more energy. So I know it's really hard to get up off the couch or off the porch, or when you're walking really nice and slow because it's so hot. If you can just jog or go up some stairs, something where you get out of breath, you'll get more mitochondria, it will give you more energy, and it will also make more doors on your cells so that your sugar gets out of your veins. So that's how the body works. But if that isn't the case and we just have too much sugar, then it's very interesting. So your sugar, your blood is very sweet, and you have some damage because the sugar gets into the capillaries and it breaks them. So then your nerves don't get the nutrition that they need. So then you don't feel if you bump your foot, and I had somebody, they had a tack in their shoe and they didn't know it. So they ended up with a big bloody heel. Unfortunately, it was on their heel, and it was a deep wound. And because your sugar, the blood is sweet, infection can grow fast. And not only that, but you have poor circulation, so the white blood cells can't get to the infection to kill off that infection. So it's just a lose-lose situation. So please keep active, drink lots of water, have a meal every 6 hours. You know, if you're waking up at 7, have lunch at 1, have dinner at 7. You know, just something to eat. Don't eat every 2 hours. It just stays in your stomach. It just increases the sugar in your veins. You give it, you know, 4 to 6 hours for it to digest. If you don't wake up early enough and you're up at, you know, 9 and you don't want to have breakfast at 3, you can have breakfast at 1. That's perfectly fine. It takes a couple hours for the body to absorb the sugar from the veins into the cells. So it can nerve damage can happen peripherally in your fingers and your toes and your eyes, or it can happen in your central, like your stomach and your digestive. It can cause, it's called gastroparesis, where you eat food and it goes in your stomach. 4 hours later, the food is still in your stomach. It's not in your intestines yet. So with that kind of a situation, you need to have it like dribble into your stomach and into your intestines. So you're going to have a lot of water before the meal, water with during the meal, after the meal. You're gonna have small meals. What you normally would have for lunch before gastroparesis, you're gonna cut it in half. So you eat some of it, you know, at say 10 o'clock in the morning. Some of it would be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Some of it would be 6 o'clock at night. Some of it would be 10 o'clock at night. You know, so that way you can see that you're spreading your meals 4 hours apart, but you're only eating a lot less and you're having it with a lot of fluids. So that's where, also UTI. I was just speaking to a guy this morning, and his neuropathy from his diabetes is his urinary tract, unfortunately. He's not on the gliptins, the different kinds of medicines that work on your kidneys. He's on just, I forget what medicine he's on, but basically he has, his trouble is with the urinary tract, so he has to drink lots of water, keep active, and he's actually using acupuncture, what I thought was pretty effective. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Is that somebody? Okay, that's something else. Okay, so some complications that we want to avoid is, it says heart disease and stroke, pretty serious. Kidney disease, all of these eye complications, because the eye is a complex, your brain is complex, they're connected by one little capillary and one little nerve. So get some sugar in there, breaks off the capillary, the nerve dies, you can't see. Other nerves and things can connect it. I have this one woman who likes grape soda, and she will have it on an empty stomach, and she says, it's okay, I'm only blind for like 20 minutes. But watch out for the blood sugar with eye complications. Sexual dysfunction. We are all human. Sexual is a big part of our lives, so we want to make sure that we don't have our bloodstream and our nerves damaged by sugar. I will also mention that animal fat. If you're not going to go for a plant-based diet, if most of your diet is going to be animal proteins, there's a lot of fat in there. The fat goes into our bloodstream. The first thing it fills up is the insulin receptors, which is the worst. So then you end up making a lot of fat because you got all that sugar in your veins. The other thing is the fat does clog up the arteries, and in our main artery, it's very thick. I don't know, like an inch. When we get into our main arms and our legs, it's like a McDonald's straw. I mean, these arteries are very thick. However, when it gets into our sexual organs, it's like a stir stick for a coffee. It can get blocked very easily. So if there's anything with you or your partners and you want to have a better sensitivity or activity, just have a low-fat diet with not a lot of animal meat beforehand, and you'll be golden. So that steak on Friday night, maybe not such a great idea. Maybe have it on Monday or something. Anyway, I'm just joking about that. But sexual dysfunction is a big part of diabetes and of a high-fat diet and high cholesterol. And if we can reduce that and we can enjoy life, I mean, life is short. We got to enjoy it. The other nerve damage is like foot complications, again, neuropathy in our feet, skin complications. If you get a scratch, please put an ointment on it and put a Band-Aid on it. I know that sounds like I'm being overprotective, but you just do not want to get an infection in there with diabetes or any other reason why. Maybe you're a smoker, you have poor circulation, just let it heal. And the best way to have a cut heal is with keeping it wet, not letting it develop a scab. A scab takes longer. The skin complications, depression. So this is a big thing that we haven't been talking about for a while, but it's a neurological thing. If you have some nerve damage, it could be in your brain and it's not giving you enough serotonin or dopamine, so you're not feeling good. You want to stay away from people. If you find that you're staying away from your friend, I know that we are quarantining, so we're staying away from our friends. But if you find that you're pulling away, you're not answering the phone, you're not doing the Zoom calls. Hi, everybody on Zoom. And it's been 2 or 3 weeks. We all need a break sometime, but that can be a sign of depression. Talk to a talk therapist. They have all these exercises that can get you dopamine and serotonin in other ways instead of giving you an injection or a pill. There's many other exercises you can do. So depression is a part of neuropathy and gum disease. So see your dentist. Please see your dentist. They are super prepared. I have a dentist. I just got a new dentist who is a little lax, I will just say. And I was very hesitant to go see him. However, he had the face screen, he had the mask, he had the gloves, he had the gown. And after when I was done, he threw them all away and he charged me $10. But he was very clean. They wiped everything down. It was new tools. He took them out of plastic, so they have a new way to do this now. And it was very safe. And I had to go back for a filling. So I saw him twice, and both times a very good visit. And like I said, my doctor is not meticulous. So the fact that he was doing this, I think, is a really good sign. So if you have a good dentist, you're probably in better shape. But don't hesitate, because they have really lost a lot of business. They said something like 97% of dentists have lost 80% of their business or something like that. So the teeth and the feet are the gateway to good health. So make sure you've seen your dentist. If you have a tooth infection or something isn't right, try to floss every day. I'm sorry to say this, try to floss every day if you're not going to go to the dentist every 6 months. But if you do get an infection, it can raise your blood sugar. So if you're walking around and your blood sugar is normally 120 in the morning, and for some reason the last week it's been 140, maybe you have a tooth infection. Or maybe you were doing something in the yard and you kicked your toe, or you have something bothering your body. Your blood sugar can increase from a lot of different reasons. Is there any questions?
I had, just to the side, I'd sent you a note on cinnamon and taking cinnamon.
Oh, cinnamon. Yes. And
Is
it
that
has,
really-
there,
lower
there,
blood sugar, or,
yeah, the studies, there's a lot of studies out there. The one you showed me, you said had like 50 people in it. Yeah, you want to look like at 50,000 people or 100,000 people. But the cinnamon is a way that is shown to make your insulin receptors more receptive to insulin coming, so it will open the doors faster. But there have been many studies that show that cinnamon is effective. However, it isn't clear to me. This is like not having, or eggs causing high cholesterol. So with the cinnamon, I feel that they are putting cinnamon on their oatmeal instead of sugar, or jelly or something like that. And when you put cinnamon, it has such a rich flavor, whether it's in your coffee or on your toast or in your oatmeal. It's so different than fruit or honey or juice or sugar, that I'm thinking that people are having less carbohydrates by having the cinnamon instead of the sugar. I just know, when I have oatmeal, I like to have it with jelly. And when I put cinnamon on it, I might put a sprinkle of sugar, but it's nowhere near the sugar that I have with the jelly. So that's one option. But the other thing is, it does show that it can make you more sensitive to the insulin. Insulin's resistance is a big thing, so that reduces that. So yeah, it's a good spice. It has other antioxidants in it, and I'm all about adding different spices. And even if you're going to do some Moroccan dishes and some Indian dishes, they'll use some cinnamon in there. So that's a good idea. Anybody have any other questions? Okay. So let's see, what am I going to talk about? The big thing, when people have prediabetes and they don't see a dietitian like me, then they don't know how to eat because they think Cheerios is good for the heart. All these kind of things. Yeah, plant-based food are good for the heart. So that is for sure. Vegetables are good for the heart. Berries, all these kind of wonderful things. But you end up some people start with a metformin, and then from metformin, that stops the liver from making so much sugar. Some people have a diabetes where it's just that their liver gives them sugar all the time. So if they can take metformin, it cuts it back, so you only get the sugar that you need from your brain, your heart, and your lungs, and you're good. But if they haven't modified their lifestyle so that they end up having high sugar for a longer period of time, they may have to move on to the oral medications. And we talked about the ominous 8. So there's 8 different ways your body gives you sugar. It isn't just from lack of insulin. So your pancreas is one way. It might not have the B cells to make the insulin. It might have extra A cells, so it makes extra glucagon, which takes the sugar out of your liver and your muscles. Your brain could have some issues. Artificial sugar makes you think that sugar is coming, so it gets the pancreas ready, and then you're craving sweets all day, so that can increase your sugar. Your stomach and your intestines have a DPP4 enzyme that helps make insulin last longer. So the sugar that's in your veins, the insulin comes and it can last longer, so it can get more of those doors open. Same thing with your kidneys. Your kidneys help you basically urinate out all that extra sugar. So drinking plenty of water washes all that sugar out of your bloodstream. What else is there? There's the liver, like I said, with metformin, it stops making it. There's also the TZD medications. That is where the sugar comes out of your muscles. They'll stop that glucagon from being so high, so that the sugar stays out of your bloodstream and where it needs to be with the cells. I think that's 8. Anyway, so you see there's a lot of different classes of medicines that are not insulin that you can take. Besides in the stomach and the intestines is a GLP-1. So you got DPP4 and you got a GLP-1. That's in your stomach and your intestines. And those are the enzymes that make the insulin last longer. So those, besides insulin, the GLP-1s, those also are an injection. That would be Ozempic. That'd be an example. But there's many classes of oral medications, what I just went through with the whole body, that they work on those organs, and then you have a pill to take in the morning or before meals. Sometimes it's a pill in the evening, and that works fine. And then there's other people that those pills don't work so well, or I will just be honest with you, the insurance doesn't cover that. They'll cover something else, and that doesn't work for you, so then you'll have to take an insulin. And the insulin injections now, they come in a pen. Actually, do I have my little samples here. Yeah. Can you see this? This is a sample of, what is it a sample of? Oh, it's a training pen for Soliqua. And that is a medication, I believe that is, I forget which one it is. I'll have to look at that. But basically, they come with a cap on there. And then there's this little protective needle that you can put on every time, or you can use it twice. And this one is the protective needle that's put on, and I put the cap back on it so that I can take it off. If I take this off, let's see here with my camera. I don't know if you can see that teeny tiny little needle. So that is how you would put it on your leg, and then you would give yourself whatever the medication is. Whether this, the Soliqua has some insulin in it, but it also might have some GLP-1 in it. But these pens are very easy to use. Mine just has water in it. There's a little dial here, so you can dial up your. That is where you get the bubble out. Okay, so then you put it to the black, and you push the button, and then the bubble would come out, and then you would dial. So that now you know that there's no air in that needle, and then you will dial it up to your. Where's the numbers here? There you go. So then you can see there's the number. Say you're taking 36 units. So that says 36 unit, and you just push the button, and you push the whole thing nice and slow, and it goes into your leg or your abdomen, wherever you haven't injected earlier, and then you get your medicine. So it's wonderful. It's much easier than the syringe. And like I said, some medications are injections, like the Ozempic and the GLP-1s and the insulin, and some medications are a pill. And other than that, I actually have a few sample, let's see. I have a couple of these. This is the One Touch VarioFlex, and it has 10 test strips in there, and I have like 6 of them left. So if somebody wants to have an appointment with me, I don't know, Carol or Sheila or Ted, if you want to make an appointment, or anybody else who's listening. I shouldn't have said that. Give me a call. Again, I'm Kirsten Puskar with Ambler Nutrition, and you can see my website, my phone number and everything. But yeah, diabetes is my passion, and if I can help anybody with their blood sugars, I would love to do that. So right here, there's a little question. It says, what is insulin? Insulin is a hormone made by the beta cells in the pancreas. The beta cells release insulin to help the body use or store the glucose from the food. When we say store glucose from food, yes, some of it's stored in the muscles and the liver, but some of it is stored in fat. So that's why I'm talking about eating every having 3 meals a day when you wake up, midday, and before you go to bed. 6 hours apart is wonderful. If you're having some gastroparesis issues, 4 hours is fine. Having a half a meal and having 6 or 8 meals. Lots of liquids is good. And then also keeping active. Let me think. Avoiding complications. The other thing is the pancreas. So the pancreas is a really important organ, and it has to give out 5 different enzymes every time you have animal protein. Just it's the same. If you're having cheese, you're having eggs, you're having fish, same thing as you're having beef. It has to give out the GLP-1, the DPP-4, has to give insulin, has to give amylin, it has to give glucagon. So all of these things happen, and it doesn't need, it has also pancreatic fluid. This is it's a pancreatic juice, actually, and it's an enzyme that breaks down the protein in the animal meat or the cheese or whatever. So think about if your blood sugar is high or you're not feeling right, then maybe you need to give your pancreas a break and look at having some meatless meals. This is where you're having plants, the beans, the nuts, the seeds, the tofu, the seitan, the tempeh. Now, those are not as well labeled, I will confess, and I actually like it. So, especially Wegmans, they do a great job. Right now, you have the frozen desserts, you have the vegetables, and they have an aisle in the frozen section that is the plant-based proteins. I am amazed. They have Orgain items, they have the Smart Balance, they have, what was the other one? Oh my goodness, I have all these things. Look at this big bag of packaging. They the Light Life products. They have this thing, the curry nuggets. So you can make these stir fries, and this is going to give it more of an Italian, an Indian feel. Here is a Smart Ground. This can go for your spaghetti sauce. This can go for your, so you're having your regular meals. You're just having the plant-based proteins. This one I do as a breakfast hash with half of a potato and onions and peppers and mushrooms, and I put some greens in there, whether it's cabbage or some spinach or some Swiss chard. Our garden has a lot of kale, so we're doing a lot of these hashes with the kale. There's also, this one is a traditional seitan. It's flavored. It's from Sweet Earth, and I got it at Aldi. This one, I made a recipe in the cooking class, the orange seitan with green beans and rice and sesame seeds. This one worked out great because you didn't really need to season the seitan. There's this tube. It's all rolled up. It's a sausage in a tube. This Light Life, Gimme Lean, you just slice it up and put it in a fry pan. Again, it's breakfast sausage. So whatever you do as your omelet, you can do this instead of using the eggs. And again, this can help bring your sugars down. It's all plant-based things. We have contractors right now working on our house, and the one contractor is vegetarian, his wife is vegan. The other contractor, he's somewhat vegetarian, but his wife has gluten problems, so celiac disease. So some of these will be flavored with soy sauce, and some will have wheat gluten in them. If you're sensitive to wheat, if you have a rash or an upset stomach or diarrhea when you get a lot of hoagie bread or cake or this kind of thing, you might want to look and see if you can avoid gluten for a few days. But I don't know, did I cover the complications? So we have the oral medications, we have the injectables, we have keeping active, sitting less and standing more. We have drinking lots of water, especially now that it's hot. It doesn't have to be water, it can be herbal tea. Seltzer now, and take a look at the new stores. There's all these. There's this one called Ocean State Odd Lot or something, or Job Lot. They have amazing seltzers in there. They had grapefruit and grapefruit seltzer. So there's no grapefruit in it. It's just a flavored seltzer water. Oh, it's fantastic with a squeeze of lime and a piece of mint from the garden. Really yummy. So I'm thinking about ways that you guys can enjoy a plant-based meal and transition. And like next week, I'm going to try to do some recipes where we can cook together. I'd like to do that again. I miss the cooking. So does anybody have any questions?
I did have a question involving sort of like, so you mentioned like I asked questions about the how do you tell if you're high, et cetera, and complications. For someone like me, I've been borderline since I was 13 years old. So I always kind of worry about like, because I do experience some things. I experience some tingling. I experience like, over the years I've been, other moments. My vision has definitely not improved over the years, and so I'm wondering like, I try to pay as much attention as I can, but when you're on that borderline, there isn't really medication they give you if you don't meet a certain criteria. So of course, I don't want to jump to medication. I'm trying to be conscious of it. I hear you say a lot of things about the diet, how important that is, which is great. Is it possible for, complications if I've, just kind of been going along this path for as long as I have, that some of this might be, or no, we're still really gotta just trust.
Where the bloodstream gets so much sugar in it for so long, your A1C would have to be above 6.5.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not. So that's, that's at least good news, is that I'm at least holding it at bay, whatever it is I'm doing, even though I feel like sometimes I'm more successful than others.
We all are. And I have to say, don't go for 100%. This people who are vegan 100%, they are whatever 100%. That's no way to live. Life is short. We need to experience new foods. And if it's cake, it's cake. I just saw this TV show about decorating cakes. Oh my gosh, I've got to figure out how I can make a cake with fiber and protein and fat and carbohydrates without it all being carbohydrates and fat, because I want to decorate some cakes. But balance is the key. Don't do 100% of anything. 70-30 is great. But and keeping your blood sugar, it sounds like if your A1C is under 6.5, you're golden. And for the rest of us who are over age 50 and even age 60, there's not seeing a big difference in the complications for people who are under 7.5 A1C or 6.5. It's the same. So if you have a doctor and he's trying to get you below 70 and you are 7.0 and you're above 65 years old, ask him to review the research and say, what are the complications? Because I'm finding that it is new research and we got to know about it. So yeah, if your blood sugar is not doing great and you don't like your doctor, definitely check out an endocrinologist. Tell your doctor about me.
Oh.
No. Yeah, amblernutrition.com. My website is up and running. I'm also on Facebook. My phone number is 215-527-4193. Give me a call or a text if you have any quick questions and I can get back to you.
Thanks so much, Kirsten, for being with us. We're going to wrap this up. I'm so sorry. I've got a 1 o'clock.
No, this is perfect. This is perfect. And next week we're going to do some cooking.
Yeah, cooking next week. I think that's a great idea. Even if we just watch you cook, I think that'll be really fun. So thank you to everyone for joining us, Ted and Carol.
Thank you. Sheila. Okay. Have a great day. Thanks a lot.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.